Hello everyone, welcome to Brian Crime TV. I'm Brian. Today I'm going to tell you a true case from Canada. It's also hailed as one of Canada's strangest cases. A man kept saying someone wanted to kill him, but his family and friends thought he was paranoid. After a series of strange events, he was ultimately murdered. So what is the truth? Let's dive into today's case. In 1996, 31-year-old Blair Adams lived in British Columbia, Canada. He had struggled with drug abuse and alcoholism before. However, through 2 years of effort, he finally overcame drug and alcohol addiction and got a foreman job at a local construction company. Just as his family and friends thought Blair was on track, he suddenly changed completely, from calm and friendly to highly nervous. Friends said he often looked around nervously, as if someone was watching him. He also suffered severe insomnia and hair loss, making him look exhausted. When colleagues asked him what was wrong, Blair quietly told them someone was stalking and trying to kill him. But colleagues dismissed it, thinking it was work stress paranoia, and advised him to rest. Meanwhile, Blair's mother noticed his odd behavior and asked what was wrong. But Blair said, "I'm sorry, I can't talk about this with you." Shortly after, his strange behavior worsened. On July 5, 1996, which was a Friday, Blair withdrew $6,000 from the bank, almost all his savings. He also emptied a safe containing thousands in jewels and gold. 2 days later on Sunday, he drove 30 minutes with cash and jewels to the Canada-US border, planning to enter the US. But border officers noticed he carried a large amount of cash and jewels and looked very nervous. So they assumed he was a drug dealer and denied his entry request. Frustrated, Blair returned home. The next Monday morning, Blair went to his construction site and submitted his resignation without even asking for final pay. He just left the site. Then he went straight to the airport. He spent $1,600 at the airport buying 2 round-trip tickets to Frankfurt, Germany, where he had briefly worked and lived. But shortly after buying the tickets, he suddenly decided to try entering the US again. So he went to a female friend's house and knocked on her door. Later, the woman recalled, that day, Blair looked very nervous and weary. He said someone wanted to kill him, and he wanted her help to get into the US. He said he had tried crossing the border the day before, but was denied by security. So this time he hoped to bring a child, driving as if they were family. This would greatly increase their chance of passing as a traveling family. But the woman was scared by Blair's behavior and firmly refused. The next day came. Blair returned to the airport, but he did not board the Frankfurt flight. Instead, he canceled both tickets at the counter. He said at the time, the person he planned to meet in Frankfurt suddenly fell ill, so the plan was canceled. Later police investigation showed the only contact in Frankfurt was a woman he had dated while working there. But she said Blair never contacted her, nor had plans to meet. After leaving the airport, Blair rented a Nissan Altima and went again to the US-Canada border. This time, he finally successfully entered the US. After arriving, he parked the Nissan on the roadside, then went to the airport to buy a one-way ticket to Washington. Notably, this ticket cost him $770, but a round trip was half that, yet he chose one way. That night, Blair boarded the plane to Washington, arriving safely on the morning of July 10th. After arrival, he rented a Toyota Camry at the airport, then drove southwest over 800 kilometers to Rothsville. Around 5:30 p.m. that day, Blair pulled into a gas station in Rothsville. After refueling, he told staff that the car wouldn't start. Staff came to inspect and quickly found the problem. Blair had the Nissan keys, trying to start the Toyota. Staff told him he took the wrong keys, but Blair insisted he had used these keys to drive. The gas station worker said If he could drive it here, the Toyota keys must be nearby. But Blair searched all his pockets, without finding the keys. Blair called the rental company for help, but they said they were closed. So the attendant said they could only call a tow truck, but he could drive Blair to a nearby hotel. Blair agreed. Around 6 p.m. that evening, they arrived at the Fairfield Inn. The attendant dropped Blair off, then left. But surveillance caught Blair pacing outside the hotel repeatedly. After going in and out 5 times, he finally asked the front desk for a room. The front desk said Blair seemed very nervous, constantly looking over his shoulder, as if someone was following him. After being given the key, he didn't enter the room, instead walked back outside. This was Blair's figure, the last time seen on surveillance. The next morning, 2 workers arrived at the construction site across from the Fairfield Inn and found a man lying on the ground, who was the deceased Blair. According to the police report, Blair's shoes, socks and pants were all missing. His lower body was half naked, with scratches on hands and face. None were fatal. About $4,000 worth of German, American and Canadian currency was scattered around. Blair's waist pouch was nearby, containing thousands and valuable jewels and gold. Also found was a black bag, containing maps, receipts, and other items. Also the previously missing Toyota Camry key. The autopsy concluded he died from blunt force trauma, which caused a ruptured stomach, leading to fatal septic shock. No murder weapon was found nearby. The crime scene was remote, so no witnesses. Not far from the scene was a company. The night security guard said, around 3:30 a.m. he heard a scream near the site, but it sounded like a woman's voice. Toxicology showed Blair had no drugs or alcohol in his system. The only clue was a hair found in his hand, but police have not released more details about it. A witness claimed, the night before the murder, Blair was talking to a man on the street, which is believed to be the last known link to Blair. Police created a sketch of the man from witness descriptions, but never determined his true identity. The case hit a dead end and remains unsolved. People have many theories about Blair's death. Some say Blair knew secrets no one else did, so he was silenced. Others say he was just paranoid, and his death was a coincidence. But I think neither fully explains all the doubts around the case. Judging by Blair's cause of death, it seems more like a crime of passion. Of course, it could be a staged scene by the killer. But if so, why leave the cash and jewels behind? That would look more like robbery homicide. If it wasn't planned, Blair was killed on his first day in this city, and money clearly wasn't the motive. Then, what was the reason? I wonder what you think watching at home. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today's episode. See you next time.